Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. So we have a couple things to talk about. So first, the Washington Commanders have signed Bobby McCain to a 2-year deal worth up to $11 million. So we're going to talk about that deal and what it means for the free safety position. And also, unfortunately, the Buffalo Bills have signed J.D. McKissic to a 2-year, $7 million deal worth up to $8 million. So we will no longer be on the Washington Commanders. So we're going to talk about that and much more. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss these free agency updates. Also, go ahead and follow my Twitter. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. Now, let's get right into the video. Okay, so let's first start off with the Bobby McCain news. Kind of the first somewhat major move that the Washington Commanders have made since free agency has started, or the legal tampering period has started. They re-signed Tyler Larson, Troy Apke, and now they re-signed Bobby McCain to a 2-year, $11 million deal, so $5.5 million per year. But again, these are terms right when it comes out. So these are the agents telling Adam Schefter and all the reporters the deal. So it might look a little bit different in a day or two, so we'll really get a better sense of it. It could be more like 2 years, $8 million, much better value. We'll see though. Either way, it's not terrible value. I would have liked the number to be a little bit lower. I was kind of thinking we would get Bob McCain for like $4 or $5 million, so kind of what I thought. But it might be a little bit lower than that $5.5 million per year number that it says right there. Honestly, overall, I think it's a solid move. I know some people hate Bobby McCain and think he's like terrible, and I just don't think that is true at all. Yes, the first half of the season, he was awful, and I was saying it in all my videos, in all, everything. I was talking about how bad Bobby McCain was, and even after the defense started to turn around a little bit, week 5, week 6, Bobby McCain still was not playing well. But over the second half of the season, once he got used to the system, he was playing a lot better. You look at his advanced numbers. His advanced numbers are actually pretty good. So, played in all 17 games, which is great. Had 4 interceptions. Really should have had like 10. He dropped so many. He allowed a 62.5% completion percentage, which is pretty solid. The average is around like 65 for an NFL quarterback. But the stat that looks really good right here is the passer rating allowed. He allowed a 65.5 pass rating this year, which is really good. I think an average pass rating is around 90. So him allowing a 65 is very good overall. I'm trying to see no sacks, but his tackling wasn't great. I would say like anything under 10 is pretty good. So 11 not so much, and he did allow a touchdown, and this is in his first year in the system. So that's why he was not very good in the first half, because not only did he not know the system, but he didn't have chemistry with the guys around him. Some of the other guys in the defense didn't have, were new to the system. William Jackson, Benjamin St-Juste, and, Cameron Curl was playing out of position as well. So I think it took him a while to get used to things. But once he did, he was playing solid for us. The biggest, gripe I have with him is he just isn't able to come down with the interceptions. Yes, he had 4, but he was in position to get a lot more than 4, like probably 10. He could have had like 10 interceptions this year. And all DBs drop interceptions. There's a reason why they are DBs and not receivers, but still, some of them were really bad drops. That's one of the things he needs to definitely improve on. So, do I think this move is amazing? No, but I think it's a solid move because you keep some continuity in that defense. Bob McCain played for us last year. Cameron Curl played for us last year. Both those guys are going to be our starting safeties. And then, Kendall Fuller and William Jackson and Benjamin St-Juste will be our secondary. We might add someone. We might add a corner in the draft. But overall, we're keeping all the same guys in a secondary that when they were healthy played okay. Not great, but okay. And I think these guys will all mesh a little bit better because they're new to the system. So Bob McCain, a solid deal, and something that I'm waiting for is the numbers. Let's see what it looks like in 24 hours, 48 hours, whenever the details of the contract come up. And there were some other safeties that I really liked. Quandre Diggs, Marcus Williams, Marcus May as well, but Quandre Diggs got paid more than I thought. I was kind of thinking around 10. I think he got paid like over 12 million a year, maybe 13. And then Marcus Williams, I knew we were never going to be able to get him once we traded for Carson Wentz. He got like a 5-year, $70 million deal, something like that. Marcus May, maybe it's still a possibility we go after another safety, but I'm okay with this deal. I'm okay with this deal because free safety, this is kind of the market for a starting free safety in this league, and I do think he is a starting free safety in this league. He's never going to be an elite safety. He's going to be, an average to maybe slightly above average safety in this league, sometimes below average. Like we saw in the first half of the season, he was terrible. So hopefully that second half of the season surge by him carries over into next year. And now into the disappointing news. The Bills are signing J.D. McKissic to a 2-year, $7 million deal, up to $8 million. Man, we could have definitely matched this, but Nikki Jabala says that Washington didn't even make an offer to keep McKissic, and I'm not saying I agree with this at all. I'm just giving you guys why I think they didn't. So obviously they, traded for Carson Wentz, and that took up $28 million in cap space, and they definitely could do more in terms of being creative with creating cap space, like extending guys, turning some of it into signing bonuses. They are not a creative front office when it comes to, creating cap space. Maybe they will in the next couple weeks, but so far they haven't been in their time in Washington. But then nonetheless, trading for Carson Wentz made it harder to sign big name guys, and even guys like J.D. McKissic. And also, there was a stat that came out, I think Ben Stanek put it on his podcast, I've talked about it a little bit, is that Carson Wentz, I believe since he's been drafted, is 37th in terms of his targets to running backs. 37th out of whatever amount of quarterbacks they counted, like 40-something. That is really, really low. And J.D. McKissic is he can pick up some blitzes and he's a good blocker, but primarily, he's used as a pass-catching back. He's a very good pass-catching back. He's okay as a runner, but you can find okay as a runner for, like, in the 7th round. That's better than McKissic in terms of running the ball. But in terms of passing or, catching the football, not many better than J.D. McKissic as a pass-catching back. Maybe you can put Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and maybe Austin Eckler. Besides that, J.D. McKissic's probably up there in terms of the best third down backs, and it's disappointing that we're losing him, but we've been using him a lot as, those short passes, dump offs by Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, and Carson Wentz does not do that much. Does not do that much at all. So I think that's some of the thinking right there. But I still think they probably could have tried to get J.D. McKissic. They didn't even offer him a deal. I think offering him a deal, even if it was the same deal as the Buffalo Bills, would have been a good idea because he's a good locker room guy. And I know it's two different positions, but J.D. McKissic is a better football player than Bobby McCain, in my opinion. You want to keep your best playmakers around, and they just couldn't do it. And I know the only thing, though, is running back is the most replaceable position in football. And, J.D. McKissic isn't very super replaceable, but you can find guys like him in the draft. Free agency is going to be a little bit tougher, but Darrell Williams from the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he's a really good option to possibly replace McKissic. He's a better runner than McKissic, a little bit worse of a pass catcher, and there's other guys as well. And you look at the draft, there's so many elite running backs in the NFL that were not first, second, or third round picks. So you can find guys with really good value on day 2 or day 3, and I think that's what they're going to do. And they might also sign a guy in free agency to help out Gibson, and Gibson's going to have to take on a larger role. He really will have to. He's going to have to develop as a pass catcher. He hasn't really done that his first couple years so far. I mean, in his second year, he did a little bit more than he did in his first, but still not enough. Not what I thought he was going to do in his sophomore year. So let's hope that he can improve a little bit. They can get a replacement for McKissic, who's not going to be as good as him, but that can, do okay with that, with can do okay for our offense, but it is unfortunate that we're losing McKissic because he was probably our second or third best offensive weapon on the team. Besides, Terry, you got Gibson, McKissic, and Logan, and we're losing McKissic. Logan's banged up, so we're gonna have to add another offensive playmaker. And we don't have that much money, and we're not being creative in terms of creating cap space. So it might be a receiver at 11 is what we will get. That is what we will end up doing. So that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about both of these moves. I'm okay with the Bobby McCain signing. I think it's a solid move. I know people are going to disagree with that. And the McKissic news, I understand why they didn't bring him back, but I still would have brought him back, even though it is not an important position in turn. No, it is an important position, but what I'm trying to say is that it is a very replaceable position. I still think we should have brought him back because that's very cheap. That's a cheap deal. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.